Order?
Yep.
Okay. I'll call the meeting to order. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw,
Here.
Commissioner Wire,
Here.
Commissioner Thill,
Here.
Commissioner Waldner,
Here.
Mayor Denner.
Here. We have the agenda in front of us. I would like to make a slight change to the agenda and move the appearance and acknowledgement down under new business 1A to approve the request for adding funds for South Dakota Highway 34 turning lanes. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Being we moved appearances and acknowledgement down, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So move.
Second.
Any comments or discussion on the consent calendar? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Nothing under unfinished business. We'll move into the new business. We have Eric Folsheim here to talk about requesting to approve the request for additional funding for the South Dakota Highway 34 turning lane.
Hi,
Hello.
thank you. Eric Folsheim with the LAIC. I come to the commission tonight a little bit with my tail between my legs. You might recall back in June of 2020, I came in front of the commission to ask for funding for the turn lanes that are as a result of the Runnings project that's going in out in the industrial park, along with the additional growth out there. At the time, we thought that we anticipated needing a left-hand turn lane for westbound traffic and a right-hand turn lane for eastbound traffic on Industry Avenue. Ultimately, I wasn't fully aware we would need a traffic study at that time, and in an effort to kind of keep the ball rolling with that project, wanted to make sure we stayed ahead of things, especially working with DOT. I got a little ahead of myself with the funding request initially. The commission at that time approved $170,000 based on the assumed need at that point. What we have since had to have a traffic study completed, which the LAIC did pay for, and then we found out that we do not need a right-hand turn lane at Industry Avenue for eastbound traffic, but instead we need two westbound turn lanes at both Division and Industry Avenue. Now this is quite confusing, so if you have questions, please ask me. But the ultimate realization with all of that is we highly underestimated the costs for those two turn lanes. And we realized that the actual cost of that project is going to be more like $220,000 as opposed to the $170,000. So I come to the commission, plus we're going to have about $16,000 to $19,000 of assumed design fees in addition to that for the engineering of that. I've talked with a couple of the commissioners and the mayor, and I did make the concession that the LAIC would consider paying for the design fees of up to $19,000, an additional $19,000 over the $50,000 that would necessarily be required for the turn lanes. So a total need of about $69,000 is what I'm coming to you for. We would take care of up to $19,000 is what I'm saying with all of that. So just wanted to make that request formally and see if we could continue to move that project forward as needed this should hopefully be the last time that I have to come to you and ask for funds. I probably, in hindsight, should have waited till we had that traffic study completed and realized the full cost, but
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the request for additional funding for the South Dakota Highway 34 turning lane?
I'll make the motion to increase the funding
Second.
up to $50,000 with the LIC taking on the $19,000 for the design fees.
And where's that coming out of?
Jeff, we had talked, it can come out of two places essentially.
You had, I think, looked over the options, and we discussed the street improvement fund. It's got $1 million in it with about $400,000 in projects pending for this year.
Yep.
I think you had mentioned you prefer.
I prefer to do it that way and then not get into the second cent sales tax deal, so.
Okay, so the motion is approved, the request for additional $50,000 for the South Dakota Highway 34 turning lane coming from the street improvement fund.
Yes.
Mike, I heard you second, are you still good with that?
Correct.
Okay,
Chad can correct me. It might be the street maintenance fund, technically.
I think that's whatever the one in the budget book is.
Yeah, it's technically the street maintenance
Yeah,
fund.
Sure.
yeah.
is that, Chad, is that the one where we collect 120, up to 125?
I believe it's about 225. About
No, per person, is that the
Oh,
fund
yes,
that
sir.
you're
Yep, yep.
I'm thinking of?
225 a year, 225,000 a year, $125
Per
per
person,
person.
okay. Okay,
And the big thing I think out of this is essentially we're gonna recoup that tax dollar base eventually with runnings and the sales tax increase, et cetera, for the community, so.
yeah, I mean, they
it's a
fully
win-win.
anticipate at least doubling their sales annually, and maybe potentially up to tripling their sales in annual gross sales. So, and the nice thing about retail is that is a 2% of that comes directly back to the city. And, you know, obviously you could make the argument for safety and everything else out there, but they do anticipate 500 cars a day going to their store. So,
And the other conversation we had centered around, what was it, whether we just do the one lane, or actually try to combine the two lanes together, and I just feel like, in my opinion, that we might as well, we'll probably get a better bid if we do both of them instead of doing them separately at this point, so.
yeah, immediately, the immediate need is at Industry Avenue. They anticipate, if we sell one more lot on the highway, there would be an anticipated need at Division Avenue, and that's where this additional cost is. Instead of a right-hand turn lane, which doesn't require the build-out of the median piece in between the two divided highways, that's where some of that additional, or the majority of that additional cost comes from for having the two left-hand turn lanes. And like Adam said, we had, or Commissioner Shaw had said, we had debated, you know, we still could just do the one turn lane right now, but you do have the added fees and costs of having them come back to do a second turn lane if that need is in the very near future. It just seems like it makes more sense, if we can, to do the two turn lanes right now. You save on mobilization costs and you save on traffic. There's like a $7,500 estimate in there for traffic signals and control while they do that work. So you'd essentially have to pay that twice if you had to do them in two separate incidences. So,
Have you ever sat down with the state and seen if they would put some money towards it, since it's a South Dakota DOT highway?
the challenge with state funds is they do not, most of those funds are specifically tied to primary job creation, which is your manufacturers and so on. A lot of times retail does not drive the, you know, where those funds are going, unfortunately, because that's ultimately what's driving the need for these in the immediate sense. But if it was another manufacturer that was driving the need for these, it would be probably a different story.
I realize we own both sides of the highway, north side and south side, but it's kind of hard to explain to taxpayers when they ask you, well, why don't DOT,
Yeah, I think some of the thought on that is with the retail businesses, because of the sales tax that's generated as a result of their sales that comes directly back to the city, that ultimately that's, and you might make the argument that 4.5% of their sales goes to the state, but that's ultimately why they tend to leave that more on the city independently. But.
okay, thank you.
We
Check.
can look into it, by the way. If you have some
That's
questions.
fine, I just thought I'd ask the question.
Chad, I got a question for you. Being we're going to use this street maintenance fund, or is there anything in our resolution on that it has to be inside city limits? I mean, we're in city limits, but this is, like Commissioner Thill said, it's a state highway. I'm not saying we can't use it, but I'm just wondering if there was anything.
I'm not aware, I mean,
Okay.
like you said, it is in city limits, but I'm not aware of any language in the resolution that would prohibit this.
Okay. Any further comments or discussion?
What's the time frame, or what do we?
The hope is that we would engage ISG, the engineering firm, as soon as I get approval from you guys on the additional costs. And then the hope is that they could do the bidding process and all of that stuff ahead of time here while they can't do construction. And then once it's construction season, because I mean, Runnings plans on being open July, August. So the ideal situation would be we'd have at least the one at Industry Avenue completed by then. And part of the reason, in my defense a little bit, part of the reason we did come in June is we did want to make sure that this was not slowed down a year by waiting till after you guys approved a 2020 budget. And so that's part of the reason we did come when we did, to make sure that we could get those funds, whatever we could at the time, and thought we needed at the time, approved for 2021 along the way.
Any further comments? Not hearing any? Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Thill?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. We'll move down to item 1. Are you going to speak on this one too, Eric?
Yes.
Okay. Authorize the mayor to sign extension agreement, Lake Area Improvement Corp. Sales tax rebate. Eric?
So this was an agreement that was put in place with Custom Touch Homes in 2011 originally, because at the time, the way that Custom Touch had their POS system set up, the more streamlined process for them is to just charge the POS at wherever they deliver the homes, which very few of their homes have come to Madison historically. So this was put in place in 2011 to have them adjust how they do their bookkeeping to allocate those POS purchases to Madison specifically, so that way every home they sell, the proceeds would be divided up then between Custom Touch and the city for that 2% that comes back to the city. Since then, they've invested a bunch of money back into their buildings that they claim has been a result of the funds that they've received as a part of this. They have future plans for growth out there that they would like to in part fund with some of these proceeds that they would get with the future agreement. And to me, in my opinion, it's been a good deal for the city. I think it's been close to 700 or over $700,000 that the city has received in proceeds of this over the 10 years that it's been implemented. So I guess I come to you to ask for an extension, I guess, and where we fall into place, we're kind of the conduit between the city and them. So ultimately, that's where I fit into the play here, but just a recommendation to approve or extend or amend, however we need to do that, to extend this another 10 years as it's been written for the last 10.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign extension agreement, Lake Area Improvement Court sales tax rebate?
So moved.
I'll second.
I got a question from Mr. Jinks. Is that okay to be able just to extend this? Or do you see anything else we need to be doing?
I have drafted the extension accordingly. I'm assuming it's in your packet. All we need to do is extend this agreement. There's nothing else that I believe we have to legally do with your motion.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes.
I could maybe add a little information. I was involved in this original contract, and I think it should be pointed out that this is a little unusual. There aren't any other customers like this, and so the city's response to someone else that might say, hey, wait a second, why can't I get half my city sales tax for products that are delivered outside the city limits? Well, first of all, they don't charge the city sales tax for delivery outside the city limits, like Custom Touch does. And Custom Touch, which is probably the most unusual part of it, has the option. The state, evidently, Department of Revenue gave them the option of considering, when Eric says POS, he means point of sale. Where's the sale actually take place? Right now, it's in Madison. A lot of house manufacturers, the point of sale is when they put it on the foundation. That's not the case here. So in case you were to get some response from someone about, well, why can't somebody else do this then too? If they operated just like Custom Touch, then you guys would probably entertain that too, but nobody else does it like that.
Eric, I have a couple questions for you. Down here, do they collect, the first 14,000 comes right to us?
Yes.
And then after that?
It's like 14,800 and some dollars.
14,086.21.
86.20, they're paid. Yep.
Okay, that comes to us, we collect that up front. I mean,
Before they start getting any of their
Right.
portion, the first $14,086 gets sent directly to the city.
Right.
Yes.
okay. The other question, and you might have answered it, it's either 10 years or up to $1 million.
Yes,
How
that's correct.
where did we fall in this first 10 years? Or did we hit the $1 million?
We did not.
Okay.
Say 700?
Well, $700,000 is roughly, give or take, I
Okay.
can't remember the exact numbers. Right. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just wanted to.
And that was, 700 to the city, and they did get, well, they would have got shy of that, because the first 14 and change goes to the city.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
This is a good thing they're going to do for us.
Yes.
It's direct money back to the city.
It is.
And they're reinvesting, to their credit, they've reinvested, they built a complete additional shop in that 10 years as well.
Yeah.
They're looking at doing some parking lot work.
I feel it's a win-win
It's a
for
win-win for us,
everybody.
absolutely. And them.
Okay. Any further comments?
Thank you.
Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Walter,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Yep. Item number 2, Chad, you gonna talk on this one?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, authorize the mayor to sign project closeout report FAA AIP 3-46-0029-017-2019 rehabilitate runway 15-33 and hangar taxi lane and remark hangar taxi lanes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the commission, members of the public here and online. Included in the agenda packet are 4 pages related to this item, and this is, as its name indicates, a closeout report, particularly an excerpt from it. Tracy in the finance office has been working a little bit closer with KLJ on this, but this is a required item basically when we get federal funding. And this is for the project that you've read, the hangar taxi lanes project. It was $200,000 estimated to begin with. The project came in, $200,000 with FAA eligible at $190,000. The project came in under budget, and so this is a reconciliation, among other things, of the finances for that. It's about $180,000 is what is going to end up being needed for the grant. Required item by FAA to close it out and submit to them so we can get our last $9,500 or so. And I'd be happy to stand by for questions.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the project closeout report FAA AIP 346-0029-017-2019 rehabilitate runway 15-33 hangar taxi lane and remark hangar taxi lane?
So move.
Second.
Any questions or comments? We still, Chad, we still have this 9,479 coming back to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any other comments or discussion for Chad? Not hearing any?
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Bill?
Aye.
Commissioner Walter?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Thank you, Chad. Item number 3. Did you want to start, or did we want Brad to talk, or you want to start?
I've talked to
Okay.
Brad today, if he wants to, sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. Item 3, adopt resolution number 2021-02, authorize execution term, endurance, sales, and payment of electric revenue refunding bond series 2021. Go ahead, Jeff.
Correct. This relates to a bond or a project that was started in 2004 to build the generation plant, southeast corner of town. The city borrowed about $7 million for that project. They will be paid off in 2025, and there are $2,190,000 left outstanding. And with the interest rates what they are today, it would be very favorable to refinance this. This project, to simplify it, it's like refinancing your house on a mortgage. That's basically what this is. And we can get this, these bonds were originally issued at 7%. The city refunded them or refinanced them at least once already. Maybe a portion of it was even twice, Brad. But anyway, this is what's remaining. So interest rates started out at 7, have just come down. These bonds are priced right now, if we were to sell them today, or last Friday, would have been sold at about 1.7% interest. So significant savings over the course of the life of these. So we're estimating if bonds were what they were last week, the city would save between, slightly in excess of $100,000. But the net, what they do, because some of these savings won't be realized for 5 years, they do what they consider the present value of those funds. In today's dollars, we're looking at between $80,000 and $100,000 in savings, and that's after all costs, because we have to hire a bond attorney. We are avoiding a trustee, because many times you have to have a bank that holds these and pays the people on a semi-annual basis, but because of the small size, we don't need one of those, which will increase the savings too. So, so anyway, yes, the term will be the same. They'll be paid off in 25, just like the existing bonds. And you can see on here, the existing bonds that we have run between 3.1 and 3.75. Those have been refinanced from the 7% that we originally issued. Okay. So with that, we would use the same firm that the city has been using for several years. It's called Colliers. It used to be called Doherty and Company, and I think many of you know Toby Morris. It's his counterpart. So it's the same firm. I talked to Toby first about this, and then got steered towards Tom. His name's Tom, who the city has used. So that firm does most of the bond issues for cities in South Dakota.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2021-02, authorize execution, term, issuance, sales, and payment of electric revenue refunding bond series 2021?
So,
Second.
Jeff, just because we adopt this doesn't mean we have to go forward with it.
Correct, Mayor.
So,
Right.
so if we can't get favorable
Right.
interest rates,
Yeah.
we just leave them.
We can't legally close on this until 20 days after this resolution is
Okay.
published. That's the earliest.
Okay.
It'll be sometime after that.
Okay.
Many times they look at what the interest rate market is doing, because the people that do this or watch this all the time, because they might say, well, Friday's better than a Monday because the Federal Reserve is meeting, and they watch all the national
Okay.
news too. I do want to add and welcome Brad's input on this, but originally when we issued this, the payment on these bonds is being paid for from Basin Electric. The capacity that generator has can be used by Basin Electric, and they paid at the time. I don't know in the last several years, but their payment to the city met and exceeded whatever the bond payment was. And I would think since we have refinanced these and are refinancing them again, I would guess that their payment to the city probably exceeds our payment on these bonds. And that again, Brad knows this like the back of his hand. I believe that contract with Basin will expire the same time these are paid off also.
Any further comments or discussion for Jeff or Brad? Not hearing any? Tanya, will you take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Thank you, Jeff.
I'll take my water and just do it over here.
Number 4, Chad, adopt resolution number 2021-03, approve a plat, lot 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B, Block 1, Cyber Estates Edition.
Yes, thank you, and members of the commission, members of the public, and here and online. Included in the agenda packet is said resolution, but then also 2 pages of a final plat document, which is referenced in the resolution. What this is a replat of the respective lots that you have read, and it's splitting those for the twin homes that are being built by the developer on those lots. The line of the common wall that the property line is located on, and after they pour the foundations, they survey the exact alignment of them, if you will, among other things, and then they set that property line for that purpose. The original plat had already been approved previously for lots 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this just subdivides them. So at the end of the day, there's a structure that's joined on here with a common wall, two separate properties subsequent to this approval, and then of course after the owner sells the lot and the half of the structure that's on them, so to speak. Getting a little more into the weeds than just the plat, but this is a replat, and since it is a replat, it doesn't have to go back to the planning commission. They did review and recommend approval of the original plat, and it's all in compliance with the preliminary plat, or commonly referred to as the master plan for this subdivision. I would recommend approval, and I'd be happy to stand by for questions.
I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2021-3, approve a plat, lot 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B, Block 1, Cyber State Edition.
So move.
Second?
Chad, just a quick question. These are the lots they're already building on, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other comments or discussion for Chad? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Thill?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Item number 5, approve 2021 employee salary wages. Sonia, did you have anything to say on this? Or is it? Okay. This is, and Jeff, you can correct me if I'm step out of line here, but this is just wages, verifying the 2021 employee wage salaries and wages that will go in the paper, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Has to be done within 30 days of the first meeting in January.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve 2021 employee salaries and wages?
So moved.
Second.
Give it to Mike.
Okay, any comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call, please?
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Thill?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item number 6 is for Police Chief Meyer, and he's on there. Approved use of Police Technology Reserve computers.
Excuse me, yeah, so we're looking at replacing all the laptops in our squad cars. We had talked a little bit about this during budget of last year. My hope was to go out and purchase 3 of these at one time. However, unforeseen circumstances, we had a computer crashed in the office last week, so we had to replace that. They're giving me a pretty good deal on these. I have enough currently in my budget line item to pay for half of the $16,000. So what I'm after is the approval to move $8,000 from my technology reserve to my office supply line item to purchase these 4 units at once. I feel with the discount that they're giving us, it's well worth it to move forward and purchase these additional 2.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Do I have a motion to approve the use of the Police Technology Reserve for the computers?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or discussion for Justin?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
My only other comment is that this is also, it's one of those things when you buy all the same equipment. Now, as these officers jump in and out of different vehicles, they will still have the same equipment type. And so just from a technology support perspective and usability perspective, this is the right way to go.
Okay, thank you.
Justin, this is 3 of how many?
What I'm looking for is purchasing a total of 4 out of 5. I have the funds in my budget to pay for 2 of them, so I'm looking for $8,000 to pay. So I would be replacing all 5 of the laptops that we currently have in our squad cars at one time. Did I answer that question?
So this will take care of all of them.
Correct, yes. We'll take care of all of them at one time.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Bill?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item number 7, I'll bring us up to speed on that. Consider financial assistance requested from FEMA Hazards Mitigation Grant Program participants. What this is the FEMA buyout on property that was going on. It is moving forward. FEMA is going to pay 75% of the cost. The state will pay 10%, and the participants or the homeowners will be still have to take care of the 15%. The last meeting we had with the participants, they did ask again if the city could contribute any help to from the city on this, and just give the new commissioners some background on this. This was the city was only going to be a sponsor. We were going to remain whole. It wasn't going to cost us any additional funds from the city. And it was brought to the commission before, and it was voted down, to let you know. But my request is, if we're going to help these participants out at all, we let them go through and let FEMA and the state take care of the 85%, and then if we do anything, we do on the back end of the 15% if the city does that. So do I have a motion to consider finance assistance request from FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program participants? Not hearing.
Mr. Mayor, point
Yep.
of clarification.
Yep.
Is this a motion just for us to continue as a sponsor?
No.
Or is this a motion for us to get in the middle of the FEMA paperwork?
This is a motion to consider helping the participants, which is the homeowners, with help on their 15% if the city chooses to.
And after FEMA and the state go through all of their process, we could come back and do something at a later day.
We could. I mean, yeah, we don't have to make a decision now. I don't believe so. The only reason why I'm asking now is because there is a deadline of January 30th where the participants will have to get in where they're going to accept to move forward with this project. They can still move out, back out of it up to closing date. So, yes, we could hold off on this, Commissioner Waldner, you're absolutely right.
And
Go ahead.
how many homeowners are we talking about? What type of money are we talking about as well?
That I don't know right off top. It's 15% of what they're responsible for of the total project.
And I'm kind of hard to make a motion without knowing what the dollar amount is.
Okay. We could, I could look through and get you guys the information if you want to hold off, and I can get you that information.
I'll motion to table this for 1 week and allow you to get that information.
Okay.
And we can take a look at the hard numbers.
I would second that.
Okay. Any further?
And,
Yep. Go ahead.
yeah, I guess I would like to know what the amount might be, and or, something that was kicked around during the FEMA meetings was, do we just do a flat rate? Are there other things that the city can do to help, whether it be the connection or disconnect fees? And I mean, there's a number of ways that we can go about helping these landowners, and I'd be supportive of helping them in some way, shape, or form, but we gotta know what we're getting into.
And that's fine, Commissioner Waldner. The only thing is, and that's why I say we might as well let them go through the process. So FEMA and the state pays 85%. If we just step in and say, we will disconnect all the utilities for you, then we cannot recoup that 85%. So
Yep.
I can get you the information on each one, because they're all different. I'll send that out to you guys tomorrow, and we can put her back on the agenda.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, any other comments or discussion on that? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call on the motion to table for a week?
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Number 8, COVID-19.
Continue to be diligent. Our numbers, do keep coming down statewide. I think there was only, what they say, 32 new cases in the state today, so that's good. And our numbers in the county, I think, are roughly 57, if I'm not mistaken. So continue to be diligent, and when the vaccine arrives, if you have the opportunity, I would encourage you to maybe go down that road. But that's everybody's choice in life, what they want to do. So.
Do you know where the school said? I know I'm a bus driver, so we had to. Do you know where the school sits for?
We're in 1D. We're in the category right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
1D.
1D.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but there's about 250,000 people that have to be vaccinated
Right.
in 1D. So
Right. Okay.
it's going to be some time.
Is there anything for public comment? Lana, and did you guys want to talk about, I know you're here for the item number 7. Did you want to just?
Pretty much answered everything.
Okay, okay.
And we will continue to go on.
Yep, okay.
The process.
If you want to come back next week, we will,
Next week,
next week we,
the first?
yep, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You might have misunderstood about being here this night.
No, I need to give the commissioners some more information, so they
And
have,
sign the paperwork and turn that into the finance office.
yes, please.
We are willing to concede, or go forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any announcements? Not hearing any, no exec session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second, or I'll make a motion.
Jeez.
I'll second that.
Bob's got lunch or supper in the oven there or something, huh?
Can't be a football game. Okay, we got a motion. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you and have a nice evening.